Foundlings. Population reset. Part of the machine. Hello and welcome to Rabbit Hole Research. This is Chevy Cool Lady. Thanks for joining me as we take a look at foundlings. How are they different from orphans? How did they become known as foundlings? What do we know about their lives? Although the name foundling has been around since medieval times, we are focusing on the 1800s to the early turn of the century. Please stay with me to the end to avoid any misunderstandings and like and subscribe, to keep the cool vibes vibing, as we discover together the truth of our past history. Because things are not always as they seem. Grab a snack and a bevy, sit back and enjoy, as we delve into Foundlings are not orphans because they have living parents, who have abandoned the child, due to a variety of reasons. Poverty and poor living conditions being the main reasons. Willingly or not, the children were left in the care of a foundling home, and were able to be retrieved when the parents' circumstances changed for the better. The invention of the foundling wheel afforded the mother anonymity, at the time of drop-off. It is an invention that had a window on the outside and a rotating wheel delivered the child and its belongings inside where they were retrieved. Kind of like a doggy door. The foundling is received, along with any belongings that accompanied him or her, by the home worker. The belongings, like metal tags, some inscribed with the child's name or date of birth, blankets, clothing or ribbons were cut into small pieces called snips and logged in a book along with the child's information. This is where the expression "just a little snip of a thing" came into use. This was done so the child could be retrieved at a later date. Sadly, many were not reclaimed and also could not be adopted because they were foundlings, not orphans.
The foundling wheel led the child to a whole new world. A world away from parental love and into a cold institution ran by the church or state and funded by the emerging secret societies whose plan it was to reorder the population into a work-driven society bent alone on enriching the rich and keeping the poor workers poor. This is called control. Control of a reset population. Turning the children over to the institution was made easy. Social pressure and propaganda led parents to think that the state could do a better job educating and housing the children. The organizations were funded and staffed by supporting organizations who promoted a generic way of thinking. A way which stripped the individual of their personal identity and created them to be a cog in the machine of reform.
We are your parents now. We take better care of you than the family unit possibly could. This creates a dependency on the institution, a distinct need to be part of the system regardless of the system's goals. The goals, in fact, are age-old. After the reduction of humanity to its ashes, such as was done, we think, in the mud flood. Ashes and water mixed, alchemically disseminating the family unit and institutionalizing the youngest members of society, also the oldest, and any who would not conform. But the asylums are a whole video unto itself. We will just stick with the foundlings. Turn your baby over to us. We can do a better job of giving children the upbringing that they need. Basic needs are met. In fact, one story I read said foundlings were actually fed a little better than the children in orphan homes. The oatmeal was made with milk instead of water. It seems that they may have been cared for a little better because a parent might come back to reclaim their child. Basically, the children were all patterned after the same mold. Taught the same reading, writing, and arithmetic. The same mores and values. The same scriptures. The same dress. The same everything. No individual expressions allowed. The separation of the classes were determined with the rise of the elites. The unexplainable massive infant population and the huge indoctrinating centers for them are shrouded in mystery. But you have to keep in mind that the poor family or impoverished mother was an eyesore to those busy building cities complete with factories to promote commerce, from which they benefit the most. Plus they are doubly rewarded by raising the children, that way the parents never have to miss any time at work, and when the children are big enough, they are put to work as well.
Many of these children were never reclaimed by the family. The Foundling Museum in London has books of snips testifying to this sad reminder. Because they still, presumably, had parents. They could, however, become indentured servants. Most were given basic needs and some form of education in exchange for work. They were not treated like the master's children and lived lives of quiet disappointment. I am sure. I read an article about a man who went to live with a wealthy family as a youngster, but was brutally turned out on his 17th birthday, realizing that all hope of having a family was dashed.
Now part of the machine. Some went on to teach as they were taught, or perhaps nursing to care for the children as they were cared for. But most went to the cities to work in the factories to make the rich richer and keep the poor worker poor. To have the hive mind. Protect the queen at all costs. Worker bees have no higher thought. No poetry, no art, just work all your life to hopefully get to do what you want with the people you love, if you get lucky enough to live that long. And you can afford it on a fixed income. The new man for a new world order. No more male and female, just drones who produce. Now get to work.